What would you do if a strange man appeared under the mango tree, looked you in the eye and said, "You are my wife," even though you've never seen him before? No past, no people, no explanation. And that same night, your father agrees to marry you off. But here's the twist. He says he was never born. Then your child is born, and the rain starts to burn. The animals die, and shadows begin to knock at your door. This is not just a love story. It's the tale of a woman who married a mystery and gave birth to something the gods tried to bury. Let's dive into the haunting journey of Obiageli, the woman who married a man carved by fate and gave birth to something that should not exist. Hit the subscribe button and enjoy Olare's folktale stories. My name is Obiageli, and I have carried a secret for 12 long years, one I have never told a soul, not even my own mother. They say some things are better left buried. But what do you do when the past you buried starts knocking at your door again, like footsteps echoing through a haunted forest? I was 19 the first time I saw him. It was a season when the mango trees bowed heavy with fruit, and the air smelled of harmattan dust and charcoal smoke. I was returned from the stream, the sun burning the back of my neck, when I saw him, sitting quietly under the giant mango tree just outside our compound, tall, silent, dressed in plain white cloth, wrapped like a traveler from another time. He had no luggage, no sandals. His eyes were not of this world. They held something ancient, something that made the hairs on my arms rise. "Who are you?" I asked, water gourd still balanced on my hip. He didn't answer right away. He just smiled softly. "I've been waiting for you, Obiageli," he said, his voice like wind rustling through dry leaves. I dropped the gourd. My father came out with his cane, already shouting. But when he saw the stranger, he froze. Not out of fear, out of something deeper. Recognition? No. Confusion? Yes. My father's face changed like a man remembering a name he never learned. "Who sent you here?" he demanded. "I came for her," the man said, eyes still fixed on me. "She is my wife." There was no wedding, no proposal, no suitor's visit. But that night, the elders gathered. Mama wept in silence, her wrapper soaked in tears. My father said nothing. They married me off to the stranger in a quiet ceremony. No music, no celebration, just cola nut, palm wine, and shadows. From that day, strange things began to happen. The chickens stopped laying eggs. Rain fell only around our compound. I would wake up at night to find him sitting at the edge of the bed, eyes open, watching the moon as if it were speaking to him. He never ate, never slept, and when I asked him questions, he would say only one thing: "I was never born, Obiageli. I was made." That's when the dream started. I would dream of a forest made entirely of bones, of women in white, their mouths stitched shut, reaching out to me. I would hear babies cry in rivers and men screaming from beneath the ground. And always, I would wake up with red soil under my fingernails. One day, I followed him. He had said he was going to visit the hills. I trailed him through the bushes, barefoot and terrified. That's when I saw him walk into a rock and disappear. When I got closer, the rock was solid. "Cold, real," I screamed. I ran. But I couldn't tell anyone what I saw, until the day my belly started to grow, and I realized something else. I was pregnant, but this child was not like others. It kicked when I walked through graveyards. It whispered to me in dreams. And then, one night, while I lay on the floor weeping, the stranger put his hand on my stomach and said, "She is coming. And when she does, this world will change." That was the night I knew. I didn't just marry a man who was never born. I was carrying something that had never lived, but had always existed. They said childbirth is the closest a woman comes to the gates of death. But what came out of me that night wasn't just a child. It was a prophecy. The moon bled red that night. Not the red of dusk or dust, but the red of something ancient, something angry. Every dog in the village howled. Roosters crowed out of rhythm. Goats kicked their pens until hooves bled. I was sprawled on the cold clay floor of my hut, soaked in sweat and fear. My screams were swallowed by thunder. Outside, The wind tore through banana trees like a mad spirit. The wooden windows banged as if fists were knocking from both outside and inside. The man I married, the one who claimed to have never been born, knelt beside me, eyes glowing like embers in the darkness. He didn't hold my hand. He didn't whisper comfort. He simply stared. "She is coming," he said again, "and the sky will break to let her through." The pain tore through me like a machete, but no blood came. Instead, the room filled with the smell of burning palm oil. Not from fire. No pot was cooking. It was coming from my skin. I screamed louder. Then silence. Not the peaceful silence of a village night. No, this was a thick, eerie quietness that feels alive. The kind that makes even insects pause their wings. And then she cried. The child. But her cry was not a baby's cry. It was low, guttural, ancient, like the groan of a tree being uprooted. My ears rang. The clay walls cracked. My body felt empty. Hollow, like whatever came out of me had taken more than just flesh. My mother ran in, but the moment she saw what lay between my legs, she fell backward and screamed, "Abomination!" The child was pale, too pale. Her eyes were open and staring straight into mine. Her hair was pure white, coiled tightly like a crown. But her umbilical cord, it was wrapped around her neck like a necklace of thorns. That was when the rain started. But not normal rain. Black rain. Thick, muddy, smelly, like the tears of something buried long ago. The droplets hissed as they touched the thatched roof, burning small holes. Lightning struck the Irako tree behind our hut twice. People say that never happens. In the confusion, my husband picked up the child, kissed her forehead, and said, "Now that she is here, they will come for her." By morning, the compound was crawling with flies. Dead birds scattered across the yard. 3 goats had died, and our well had turned red. But it wasn't just the land that was reacting. That evening, a man came. His name was Ogwefi Naji, a crippled palm wine tapper, who hadn't spoken in 5 years after falling from a raffia tree. He knocked on our door, trembling. "I don't know why my legs walk me here," he whispered, "but I saw her. I saw your child in my dream, wrapped in snakes, surrounded by fire. If she stays here, death will multiply." We sent him away, but that was just the beginning. Later that week, I began noticing the symbols. Chalk marks on our door, cowries buried at the corners of the compound, charred feathers tied with red thread under my sleeping mat. And then the masked one came. It was midnight when I saw it, standing at the foot of the compound gate, tall, dressed in deep brown raffia, dripping with palm wine and cow's blood. Its face was covered with a wooden mask carved like a crying child. It didn't speak. It didn't move. But my daughter, barely 7 days old, opened her eyes and began to laugh, loud and sharp like broken bells. The masked figure disappeared before I could scream. My husband didn't flinch. "They have found us," he said. "The Ndindumame." "Who are they?" I whispered. "The keepers of the balance. The ones who make sure that the never-born never walk among the living." I clutched the baby to my chest. He turned to me, finally, his face solemn. "They are not human, Obiageli. They were men once, until they swallowed the ash of a dead god. They are here to take her back." They came in the night, not with drums, not with chants, just the sound of feet crushing dry leaves, soft, steady, certain. 7 figures in black, faces covered with white clay, eyes glowing like dying coals. The Ndindumame had arrived. My husband rose before they entered the compound. He kissed my forehead. His touch was warm, warmer than I ever remembered. "It ends tonight," he said. I begged him not to go outside, but he only smiled and said, "I was never born, Obiageli, but through you, I may finally live." He stepped out into the yard. The 7 cultists stood in a wide circle. They didn't speak. They simply raised their hands and began to hum, not like humans, but like stones rubbing against stone. My baby started to cry, but her voice didn't sound scared. It sounded angry. Suddenly, my husband dropped to his knees. His white wrapper turned dark, soaked with something unseen. His hands clutched his chest, and from his mouth a black mist poured. Then one of them spoke. "Return her to the earth," the leader said. "She does not belong here. Her presence breaks the balance." I stepped out. My knees were shaking, but something ancient stirred inside me. I was no longer the timid girl who fetched water from the stream. I was now a mother, a protector. I held my child high. "She belongs wherever I stand," I said. The leader stepped forward, mask tilting. "Then you must offer your own soul in place of hers." I didn't hesitate. I stepped forward. "Take me," I said. But then something happened. Something no one expected. The baby stopped crying and began to hum. Not just any hum. The same melody the cultists had been chanting, only softer, warmer. It pierced the silence like sunlight breaking through mist. The cultists froze. Their bodies stiffened. The leader fell to his knees. And my husband, he began to glow. His skin shimmered like wet clay in sunlight. His eyes turned silver. "She is not a destroyer," he said, rising. "She is the bridge." The cult leader whispered. "Then the cycle is broken." And just like that, the 7 vanished into smoke. That night, by the firelight, my husband told me everything. He was a guardian spirit, a vessel created by the ancient gods to hold back chaos from crossing into the world. But over time, the gods forgot. Their shrines crumbled. Their names were lost. And he remained, wandering unfinished, unloved. Until me, my love gave him form. My womb gave him purpose. Our child was the first of a new balance, a being born of both spirit and blood, sky and earth. My name is Obiageli, and I did not marry a man. I married a mystery. I married fate. But more than that, I became a mother in Garuka, which means the best is yet to come. She is 12 now. Her eyes are still silver in the moonlight, and her voice can calm wild dogs and call rain from the sky. But she laughs, she plays, she sings with the other children, and the land has healed. The black rain has stopped. Goats are birthing twins. The mango trees are fat with fruit again. And every evening, my husband walks beside me, no longer a shadow, but a man, a father, a soul reborn. I tell this story not to scare you, but to remind you, some love stories are older than time, and when the gods forget themselves, it is only through love that they remember.